Hey everybody, welcome to today's video with BlockRoots. I'm Josh. Always glad that you're here. We're going to talk about the Bitcoin market today. As always, if you have not subscribed, please do so below. Click the red button as well as leave a comment on today's video. Every week we like to give out Bitcoin to our subscribers, to one person who comments and engages with our videos. We love the engagement, love to hear from you. We're not going to always reply back, which is totally fine, but we do read our comments and it's really important to us. We get the feedback as well. So please leave a comment below on the video and subscribe. Now, as far as today's video, we want to talk about, are institutional investors going long? We'll look at some stats on that, as well as, again, draw $100 in Bitcoin for one subscriber today. And we'll talk about BitMEX really quick and all that shenanigans. But we'll go ahead and look at the market. Now, speaking of BitMEX, here's the chart right here. If you have not heard, if you live under a rock or if you live in a cave, that's the only way that you haven't heard that BitMEX actually exposed privacy of their traders and members this week through an email where they released email information of a lot of traders, I think thousands. I don't know the specifics, right? But just the whole point is if you do have a BitMEX account, I would recommend changing the password. If you have been exposed as far as your email, I would even certainly be open to creating a new email. You don't want to have people have access or guess your password, which they can easily do that. So make sure that you take care of yourself. Be safe when you're trading. Always make sure to use 2FA. Also, Deribit had a mix up or mess up with their exchange that caused the price to crash down and liquidate people down in the 7Ks. They refused to do a rollback, so they did lose a lot of trust from traders. And so again, as always, we always share Bybit is our exchange of choice when it comes to margin trading. I'll drop the link below as far as that specific video where we talk about the simple guide how to margin trade if you don't know how to long or short Bitcoin. We won't really get in a lot of detail about that today, but I just want to share that as always. So far, we have a lot of trust. We think that they have a great product. Certainly check out Bybit if you haven't. So let's go ahead and look at the daily chart here on BitMEX. And as far as Bitcoin, the price action has been sideways. Of course, we're in a compressed pattern, which has been higher lows and lower highs. But as you can see, the last few days, we've actually had higher highs and higher lows, which is really good, which is a small trend up. But still, we need to break above the weekly open. And if I were to go ahead and show that, the weekly open is above 9,556, so 9,556, and of course the monthly open is above 9,600. If price can actually break above that and close above that, especially on the daily, that would be a bullish sign for continuation going up. Okay, and so that's certainly something that I'm looking for. Until then, really we're moving sideways. And then as far as a bearish, right? I mean, we need to break below 87.79, 8,800, right? So we've got that past horizontal support there. And if we do break below that, I feel like there is still some support around 8,500. I can go ahead and show you on the Bitstamp chart. So this is kind of a messy chart. I want to go ahead and get rid of these Bollinger Bands. And if I were to go ahead and expand this, you're going to notice that overhead, this total resistance zone right here, this weekly resistance zone, we have not been able to break above that, right? So currently price has rejected off that on the 4-hour and has moved back down slightly. As far as the zone below it, that's actually the support area that I'm watching here. So if I go back to the daily chart, right? But the good news is that we're actually still above the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. As you can notice that price actually wicked down and touched that multiple times, rejected off that, and has come back up. Now, as long as we're above this, again, I feel like this is a bullish sign to be above this moving average. If the daily does go down, maybe even the 4-hour, I would say possibly close below this. This price, which is around 90.66. If it does close below that, I would start to be a little bit more bear biased. If we do go back down here to this high volume node area around 82, 8,300, I mean, certainly I would think continuation down, right? I mean, typically for us to lose what we just gained, I mean, a bullish push of 42%, that would certainly be a major sign of weakness in my eyes as far as price action. So that's the good news. Another thing as far as confluence, if I do, again, open the Bollinger Bands, you're going to notice this red line right here, this 20-day moving average, which again, this tends to be a nice trend to watch. A lot of times during uptrends, price tends to stay above the 20 EMA and then below it on downtrends. But there's some confluence there also as well around 8,500, the support zone, horizontal high volume nodes, as well as the 20 EMA moving on up there. So I think that yes, we can break down below the 200-day moving average. If it closes below that on the daily, that would be bearish, but we can wick down here, maybe bounce off this area and move back up during the day, and that would be totally fine. Again, 24 hours in a day, that's a lot of time for Bitcoin to move. As volatile as it is, it can certainly move, of course, 42% in a day. It can move a few $100s below the 200-day moving average and move right back up in one day. I'm not too worried about it. So just really waiting for that confirmation. And do we think that a violent or really strong aggressive move is going to happen? Yes, we do believe that, and that's specifically because of the historical volatility. Now, again, if we look at the 4-hour chart on the historical volatility, you're going to notice that price at these arrows right here, you're going to notice that the historical volatility has been moving down quite a bit, and we haven't been down this low since the big move back in October, where we went up 42%. So whenever the historical volatility moves down, of course, that leads to a volatile move. And so you're going to notice that the big uptick there, of course, as well, the same thing when it comes to historical volatility back in September. The move from mid-9,000s to $8,000, of course, the volatility went up. So anytime you see the historical volatility move this low, outside of the sideways movement there, right, it tends to lead to a big major movement. So yes, we see that this compressed pattern here is going to lead to a movement probably in the next coming week or so. CMEs are going to open up again on Sunday night. And so with that said, expect some volatility likely coming this week. And so you do want to be in this move. I think anytime that you see Bitcoin compress for a matter of days or weeks, that you do want to be in the move. So you want to catch it if you're a margin trader. You certainly want to be open to watching a few things. If we do close below the 200 daily moving average, continue to move down here and retest 8,500 and break it, I would consider that to be very bearish. If we can stay above in this area and break up above 9,550, 9,600, I would consider that to be bullish at this time. So that's the movement that we want to watch for. And we certainly, like I said, you want to be in this move. So some things that I recommend: continue to watch sentiment. Sentiment right now tends to be a little bit bullish, right? That's not always a great thing. Funding rate, when it's positive, that means a lot of people are long, and a lot of times to liquidate those people, to make some money off that. Of course, big whales will do the opposite and go short. Our funding, of course, is negative. They tend to go long. But watch sentiment, watch the funding, as well as order flow. We've had a lot of videos about order flow as well. Make sure that you're seeing the volume and the candles, the absorption, as well as the buying and the selling, what's happening here, who the bigger hand is. If the bigger hand is holding up the market, then certainly you want to be on the buy side. If the bigger hand starts to push down the market with high volume where retail traders can't hang with, then you certainly want to be in a short at that time. So a lot of these things you want to watch and pay attention to, and so make sure that you're doing that moving forward. So that's kind of the outlook on Bitcoin right now. Let's go ahead and give $100 away as far as a subscriber who has commented this week on this week's videos. So go ahead and pick right now. And that winner is Flex Pro is the name of the winner. And so Flex Pro, that's a very useful guide to me. Thanks again, Flex Pro, for sharing your comment on this week's video. And I'll go ahead and send $100 of Bitcoin your way, Flex Pro. So check your wallet. And again, congratulations. So the big question is, are institutional investors going long? So if you check on Skew, skew.com, at @skew_markets on Twitter, they have shown today the institutional longs at the CME are at a 1-month high. So basically, Bitcoin futures open interest for institutional investors, long versus short, net long, 870 BTC versus last week, which was 660 BTC. So that's a 30% increase when it comes to institutional investors. And so certainly that could be a bullish sign. We do want to watch that because, of course, you always want to be where the bigger hand is at. And when it comes to institutions, they tend to know where price is going always before retail investors. So Be sure to look at more at skew markets. There's some other bullish news as well, is that Bakkt has they've disclosed that Bakkt is slowly taking off. Total open interest just crossed over 1 million, with volumes also ramping up quite a bit this week. And so, as you can see, the Bitcoin open interest and volume as well has skyrocketed over the past month. So with open interest, when it comes to Bakkt, increasing over the past couple of weeks. When it comes to a net long open interest Bitcoin futures, CME up 30% also this week. That tends to be a bullish sign when it comes to overall price action and the trend in the market. So again, if you want to, if you're a holder and you certainly aren't trading right now and you want some hopium, this is certainly a good dose of hopium that will certainly encourage you. If you are looking to look at more information on the Bitcoin futures markets and looking for free data, you can always go to skew.com, Skew Analytics. All you have to do is click on the analytics button up top. Then what's going to happen is you're going to see on the left-hand side market data charts, and go ahead and just click on Bitcoin futures. From there, you can actually see all this information as it loads on your computer screen. You can scroll down, and that's where you can actually see information on the CME open interest with net long with institutions, as well as some of the other information that we talked about. So with that said, I am Josh. This is BlockRoots. Be encouraged, because we know that CME longs right now are increasing for those institutional investors. We know that Bakkt interest is continuing to increase as well. And so Bitcoin, if price does stay above 90.50, that's certainly an encouraging price that we want to see. Also as well, if it does move below that and close below that, that tends to be a little bit bearish, but I do believe that we can hit as low as 8,500 and turn back around and move north from there. Any close below that, I tend to be a little bit more bear biased. And remember, we see historical volatility at a big time low right now. And so that really does give us a sign that a big move is to come. And so be on the lookout for that. And hopefully you're having a great weekend. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Be safe, trade effectively, and if you're in the USA, don't forget to roll back your clocks tonight with daylight savings time ending. Unfortunately, it's going to get a little dark sooner in most states. But hey, the holidays are coming, so that's always good news. All right, guys, talk to you later, and have a great weekend.